Hello everyone and welcome to English with Mustaqim. In this video, I'm going to explain how to write the explanation of the PEE format of the analysis question of section A of the Edexcel English Language B paper. So, in this video, I'm going to basically explain how to write the explanation of the analysis question. Uh, so firstly, we have to write the introduction to the essay type question of the analysis question using the TAPT format, TAPT format, which we have explained already in a previous video, link to which you can find in the description of this video. So after you have written the introduction to the analysis question, after analyzing the text, next on we will move on to the uh, format PEE. This is the format you will use to write the rest of the answer of the analysis question. So this is one of the most complex parts of the question you have to answer. In this part, you have to analyze the text, find out different techniques, sentence structures, or figures of speech, parts of speech, and uh, answer the question using an elaborate explanation. So the trick is to use equation that I have formulated, the equation for writing the explanation. The equation stands as explanation equals to effect and meaning plus emotion evoked plus the connection to the question. So in this equation, to write the explanation, firstly we will explain the effect and meaning of the point or the line that we have identified from the text. We can identify a figure of speech or parts of speech or anything from a range of other things that can help us to realize how the writer has made his point or conveyed his story. So in the first part of the explanation, we will write down the effect and meaning of the figure of speech or the line that was identified by us. And after we have written down the effect and meaning of the point, we will move on to write down what emotion was evoked by the writer on the reader. So in this part, we will explain or describe how the particular figure of speech that was used, how that figure of speech evokes a particular emotion that helps us to soak in or read the text and get interested or engaged in it. And at the end of all of it, we will write down how the point that we have made, how the effect of that point, and how the emotion that was evoked answers the question that was asked for the analysis. So that concludes our explanation. Now we will look at an example on how we can apply all of it in practicality or in real life while answering the analysis question. Firstly, let's look at this example. In this example, let's assume there was a text, and from that text, from that text, we have identified the line: the protagonist stood alone, surrounded by an endless sea of barren sand, with not another soul in sight. Now, when we will go to the analysis question, that is the question number 3 or the question number 6, depending on the text, that question might ask something like, how does the author convey the theme of isolation in the text? So we can see that the line we have identified that somehow conveys the idea of isolation in the text. So the first thing that we will have to do after we have identified a line that goes with the question, the first thing we have to write down in the answer is the point of the point, evidence, and explanation format. So the point here is what type of device this line is, and after we have read the line, we can see that the writer here uses a metaphor. The whole line, it is a metaphor. The protagonist stood alone, surrounded by an endless sea of barren sand. There is no sea that has an endless sea, endless amount of sand. that is not a sea, that is a desert, but we can see that a comparison was made. So this is not a normal comparison, this is a metaphor. So the writer here uses metaphor, and then we can mention which line number it was taken from. So we can write the writer uses metaphor in line 1. After the point, we have to move on to the next part of the format, that is the evidence. We have to give the evidence which line this metaphor is. So we are going to write down the whole line here. The protagonist stood alone, surrounded by an endless sea of barren sand with not another soul inside. This whole of it will be under quotation marks. Now, after we are done with that, we will move on to the explanation. So the first part of the explanation that I will be answering is the effect and meaning part. So firstly, I will write down the meaning of the line that the writer was trying to make. So here the writer basically describes the setting of the desert using a metaphor by comparing it with a sea of barren sand, endless sea of barren sand. So we are the meaning here is the writer uses this line to describe the setting of the desert. After I am done with the meaning, I will move on to the effect of this particular figure of speech. So what does a metaphor do? A metaphor creates a comparison. So I am going to mention what that comparison was, and which exact words or which particular words helped to make that effect. So in this case, to describe the setting of the desert, there was a use of a comparison, using a comparison, and I'm going to give the evidence of those particular words, endless sea under quotation marks, to highlight which words made that comparison. After we have mentioned that a comparison was made, we are going to say what kind of a effect it provides to the readers. So it basically creates a vivid image of the vastness of the setting in the reader's mind, which we are going to write. So to describe the setting of the desert using a comparison, endless sea, which creates a vivid image of the vastness of the setting. After that, we are going to move on to the emotion part of the explanation. In this part, we are going to basically write down what type of emotion this line or figure of speech evokes on the readers. So this line makes the reader empathize with the protagonist's sense of detachment and loneliness. And after we are done with the emotion, this emotion we have to figure out on our own, and the effects, they are mostly similar for particular figures of speech, which you can find online or among my notes. So after you are done writing down the emotion, we are going to basically just state that all of these things that we have described till now, all of this aligns directly with the image of the protagonist. All of this directly aligns the image of the protagonist with the theme of isolation. And with that, this is one single point that we have identified and written down the answer for using the point evidence explanation format. We have to write down more points like this, approximately 9 to 10 points more after we are done writing the introduction, in order to get a good marks. So basically this is it. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment box, and you can also text me on my page, on my Facebook page or Instagram page, link to which are given in the description below. So I hope this video helped you. Best of luck for your exams.